I wrote my first book and today it has been a month since it was published. Let me tell you everything wrong there and also some of the stuff I'm very proud of. I'm doing this so I can be the first one to criticize my own book and not give anybody else the opportunity. I wrote The Rise of the African Empire because I made a video regarding co-endings Germany. And near the end I added a scenario regarding the German Empire leaving to Tanganyika, which is modern day Tanzania, used to be called German East Africa. Then the Kaiser would try to return to Europe and depose the Austrian painter ruling over Germany. There was a good underdog story regarding Kaiser Wilhelm III beating the Germans and returning home. I would say that the plot was a 10 out of 10 and there was a lot of drama and things I bet you wouldn't expect. If you want, you can purchase this book, as I will leave you with a link in the pinned comment as well as in the video description. You can buy a physical or an ebook copy, and it's available worldwide, so just choose your local Amazon. Regarding the problems in my book, in the first page I said that I would prioritize entertainment over realism, so the fact that some things were not realistic is not a problem. I would admit that the Spanish Civil War in the book doesn't make a lot of sense. And as a little spoiler, Mussolini working with Wilhelm III instead of with the Austrian painter, so both would defend Austria, is quite unrealistic. I mean, Mussolini can simply abandon the German Empire in exile, but I cannot do that option since it would ruin the book. There are also some minor mistakes, like Wilhelm III smoking cigars and drinking alcohol, which I bet wouldn't be too characteristic for him, but I couldn't read online if he smoked cigars or not. In general, there are some minor mistakes, but nobody has complained so far, because as I said, it was not meant to be taken seriously. So, regarding the look of the book, I would say that choosing black matte finish was a poor design choice, that I quickly reversed and switched with a laminate version of the cover. I don't have the updated version to show you, but the problem with the first couple of books was that it was easy to leave fingerprints, ruining the design of the book. Anyways, it has now been fixed for further purchases. This would mean that some books can truly be one of one. For example, I'm holding the first edition where on the back there are 3 typos. 2 where Kaiser was misspelled and 1 where the Italian Duce was missing a space in between. There are only 5 books in existence that have this specific typo on the back, and I have one of them. This makes some editions of the book a collector's item, especially if I grow and actually become big. There is a little possibility that somebody would buy a book, then I would update a typo, and they would have the only book in existence with that specific typo present. I can also cover the issue of typos, which are many. On my Discord I have a channel where everybody shares their feedback regarding the book and most importantly point out key issues. This means that I always update my book, which is good. As you can hear, I'm not a native English speaker. I'm from Bulgaria and we write in a whole different script. In general, I think that the amount of typos was minor considering my background, so I'm proud of what I did. Right now, I have sold 31 physical copies and 36 ebooks, and in total I have 2 reviews on my Amazon page, which is roughly 1 review per 30 sold copies. Maybe I should have asked people to review it, but anyways. I can address my only review that was left with a comment, saying that the book was good, but there were a lot of typos, resulting in a 4-star rating. This one I actually appreciate, since I saw that the buyer reads a lot of alternate history, and the fact that he said my story is good is a compliment. I'm a person that can always find something good in a certain situation. I was suggested that I add more detail regarding the places in which the conversations are taking place, which I decided not to do. Before, I saw these things as unimportant details and I hated 5 pages of a book describing a room in which the action was happening, which I thought was not important at all. As a result, I didn't include any of it, but I should have at least included some minor details, like if the people were speaking near a lake, in a park or at home. This is because I was told by the readers of the book that it was difficult to imagine who is speaking and where the conversation is happening. On the positive, since I didn't describe any scenery, all of the book is actions that happened, so it's very fast paced and filled with content, despite it being relatively short, which is 160 pages for the physical versions. Although 160 pages doesn't sound like a lot, the book size is big. Here is the book compared to a smaller book that I have. Another suggestion I was given is to expand the sub-story of Hans, who is a character you'll meet in the 2nd chapter if you read the book. Basically, I could have made him kill the Austrian painter, which I intended to happen but didn't mention in the book. Usually, people perceive things that took a lot of time as more valuable, so if I claim that this book took 1 year to write, you would think that it's more valuable than one which was written in just 4 days. The thing is that I wrote this book in just 4 days. The book is exactly, and I mean exactly, 40,000 words long. So in 4 days I came up with the story and outline, wrote 10,000 words per day, did the cover art and uploaded it to Amazon. I feel like it's super impressive, and of course working with such a time frame, problems would arise. I would say that I was doing about 10 hours minimum per day, so the whole book could have taken me around 50 hours to do. While writing a book seems like a daunting task, for me it took close to the average person's working hours per week at their job. I'm very aware that I could have spent a whole month writing and perfecting it, but it would be, in my opinion, counterproductive. This is because I want to improve as a writer in general, and the only way to do that is to write more. I believe that it's better to write 10 separate books, and the 10th would be a lot better than spending all of this time just writing one and trying to perfect it. To me, it's all about volume. Other than that, I haven't gotten any more complaints regarding the book. I shared with you some I received and some I thought of myself. Even though the book was written in just 4 days, I stand behind the plot and the storyline, as I think I managed to do great work regarding the historical events so I can fit the story in between. Everything just works so well. To me, this is the best book that exists in the world, as the underdog story is even better than that of Rocky. I think that I had a near perfect story arc, where I managed to introduce the protagonist and their problems, made them change and grow so they can improve, and finally reach their goals. But in the end, something shocking would happen. I would say that it's brilliant, but I advise you to check it out for yourself. But I want to quickly tell you about the future, since I'm already planning for another book. It has been a bit more than a month since I wrote my first book, and I'm hooked. Right now I'm planning a book that I might call Radiation from the War, and it's similar to the Fallout universe, but it takes place in Europe, unlike in Fallout where it takes place in North America. I also wouldn't go for mutants and stuff like that, but would focus on living in the bunkers, and why even live after society has collapsed and etc. What is interesting is that Switzerland would emerge as the strongest region in all of Europe, and maybe even the whole world. As a result, when people come out of their bunkers, they'll start forming nations, as the central government would have collapsed. I created a fictional nation ruled by somebody who calls himself Alexander the Great, wanting to conquer the entire world. This is how I would sum it up in just 5 sentences, but don't forget it's going to be a book of 50,000 words, so there is going to be plenty of story, struggle and rewards. I even would have an event in the book that would be called the Fourth World War, where people would start fighting again despite the devastating Third World War. Let me know in the comments if that book interests you, as at the time of writing, Iran and Israel were very close to starting a Third World War, and I would like to touch the aspect of how regular people would survive, not only in a bunker in Switzerland. I feel like the topic would be very popular right now. I also advise you to buy my first book, The Rise of the African Empire, if all I said interests you and you want to support me and my further growth. Please do me a favor and check out this video that started it all endings Germany, where near the end I briefly mentioned the concept and the idea just took off and became a whole book. Thank you for watching, I hope to see you there and I wish you the best day possible.